Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we dig into the systems that shape our world. For this explainer, we're diving into James Loewen's fantastic book, Lies My Teacher Told Me, to really get a handle on the system of textbook history. We're going to ask a simple question. Why does a subject that's so packed with drama and action often feel so, boring? I mean, you probably remember this feeling, right? Sitting in history class, staring at the clock, feeling like it's just this endless list of names and dates that have nothing to do with your life. Lowen kicks things off with this exact problem. It's something we can all relate to. And that's the real puzzle here. History should be the most exciting subject. It's got war, betrayal, love, revolution. It's the story of us. So how on earth does it get transformed into the class that makes you want to fall asleep? What's the system that's at play, grinding all the interesting parts out of it? Well, Lowen gives us a name for this process, and it's a great one, heroification. It's this idea that we take real, messy, complicated human beings from the past, and we sand down all their rough edges. We polish them up until they're these flawless, perfect saints, without any of the conflicts or mistakes that made them human in the first place. A perfect way to picture this is to think of a museum display case. You take a person's life, all the messy, complicated, contradictory parts, and you seal it away behind glass. All that's left for us to see is the polished, approved version. The interesting stuff, the human stuff, is hidden from view. Let's look at a real-world example. Woodrow Wilson. The textbook version presents him as this idealistic champion of democracy. But what's left in the museum storage room is a lot. He was an outspoken white supremacist who actually resegregated the federal government. So to present him only as a hero isn't just missing some details, it's a massive distortion of history. And it's not just presidents. Take Helen Keller. We all know the inspirational story, right? The little girl who overcame incredible obstacles. But that's where the story usually ends. What they don't tell you is that she grew up to be a radical socialist, a fierce critic of the system, a tireless political activist her entire life. They turn this complex firebrand of a woman into a simple, safe icon, and in doing so, they erase who she actually was. So this all leads to the big question, doesn't it? Why? This isn't happening by accident. Why do textbooks work so hard to give us these perfect, flawless heroes? To get that answer, you have to look at the business of making textbooks. It really all boils down to the publishing system. See, publishers want to sell as many books as possible. Their biggest customers are huge states like Texas and California that buy books for every single student. These states have adoption boards, and those boards get tons of pressure from lobbying groups to remove anything that might be seen as controversial, unpatriotic, or just too complicated. The safest bet is to create a bland, simple, patriotic story that won't upset anyone and will sell everywhere. And this is the real kicker. According to Loewen, for a lot of these textbooks, the point isn't really to teach history. It's not about critical thinking. The real enterprise is building character. It's about creating patriotic citizens by feeding them a simple, mythic, and inspiring story about their country. Now, this approach has some really serious consequences. You end up with students who don't understand cause and effect. How things actually happen in the world. They get this Disney version of history where everything works out and the good guys are perfect. Not only does this leave them with no realistic role models, but it also creates cynicism. Eventually, students figure out they're being sold a fairy tale and they just check out. This quote by sociologist Charles V. Willey just hits the nail on the head. When we turn these historical figures into gods, we make what they did seem impossible for the rest of us. They become statues we can admire, but not people we can learn from. We lose sight of the fact that they were just people making choices, and we fail to realize that we could also go out and do important things. And here's where it gets really dangerous. A history that has no conflict, no debate, and no complexity doesn't prepare us to be engaged citizens. It doesn't teach us how to grapple with the messy problems of our own time. What it produces is obedient memory, a quiet acceptance of a clean, simple story that serves the status quo. Which leads us to this final thought. What's the real danger of being taught a clean past? Well, if the past was a simple story of perfect heroes and steady progress, then how can we even begin to understand the deep, messy, and ongoing conflicts we face today? A past without problems makes a present full of them seem like an aberration, and that is a very dangerous illusion. The moment you start seeing this system of heroification, you can't unsee it. You realize that what happens in the classroom is deeply connected to larger political and cultural forces, that need a simple, sanitized national story to keep things running smoothly. You think you're learning history, but a lot of the time you're actually learning a very carefully managed story about power. Crisis in Perception is all about examining how these systems shape what we believe, and how having better tools can help us all see a little more clearly. This project is free for everyone. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research that go into making it, you can become a supporter over on Patreon. And if you want to go even deeper on this topic, check out the longer audio-based analysis. We've got it linked for you in the description. And hey, if you enjoyed this kind of systems-level thinking, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and drop a comment to let us know what books or topics you'd like to see us explore. Thanks for tuning in.